My mom left my father when I was 2 months old. She ran away. She didn't want me anymore. So imagine, after my father passed away so many years later, she messages me on social media. What does she want? Oh my goodness. I'm 22 female. I've created this account to share this story. Maybe someone else can look at this situation from a more objective stance and maybe give some advice. I'm really at a crossroads and have no idea what road to take. I don't even know how to begin or how to structure this story. I do apologize for mistakes. My father, 76 male at the time of his death, married his first wife at a very young age. They had one son, my brother, who's now 58. My father's family comes from old money, so after his parents' death when my brother was little, my dad inherited a sizable fortune. The wife died when my brother was 19 years old, around 17 years after his first wife's death. My dad met my mom, and after a year of dating, they got married. At the time of their wedding, my dad was 53 and my mom was 24. I think it's more important for the context of the story to specifically note their age difference, as it's caused some resentment, particularly in my older brother, who's 11 years older than my mother. I was born soon after their wedding, and when I was around 2 months old, my mom essentially packed her bags and left my father, and me. That was all I knew of the story until after my father passed. Therefore, I was solely raised by my father, and we've had a fantastic relationship. He was a great dad, tried his best to give me everything he could. One thing he refused throughout my childhood was talking about my mother in any way. He never badmouthed her, but he also never said anything substantial that would give me any clues about what kind of person she was. My brother and I had a complicated relationship. He was always respectful and friendly towards me, but also distant. We never had a brotherly-sisterly relationship, which in a way is expected since he's 36 years older than me. Through him, I've also had 2 nephews and a niece, all of whom are older, and we've had more of a cousin-type vibe. My brother and my father had a very strained relationship. I later learned this was due to the resentment my brother held over our father for marrying my mother. As said before, I had no contact with my mother or any family member for my entire childhood, besides my father, brother, and his family. The only other family was my aunt. In November 2019, my father was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. It was advanced and very aggressive. Although he went through extensive treatment, he died last January, which devastated me. We were extremely close, and I still can't believe he's gone to this day. He left some of his money to my aunt and my nephews and nieces, but most of it was split evenly between my brother and myself. After my dad's death, I was dealing with anxiety. One of the fears I had harbored was the fear of being left alone, essentially abandoned. I had my aunt, but she was also in poor health, and if anything happened to her, I was really afraid that I would be left alone in this cold world. I didn't think my brother would be particularly inclined to upkeep our relationship, but I was very wrong. My brother and his wife, 56 female, stepped up in a way, assumed a sort of parental role of me. Sister-in-law has been very keen on including me in the family life and has been calling and visiting every often. I couldn't be more grateful, and we've established a close relationship. Well, the core of my problem, however, appeared at my father's funeral back in January. My father had a lot of friends and what he called associates, so my brother decides to hold an open funeral so that everyone could come say their goodbyes to my father. Well, my mother appeared with her entire family, and when I say her entire family, I mean it. I didn't even recognize her. I've only seen some photos of her, but my brother's reaction soon made me realize it was her. I did not recognize any of the other people that came with Amber, which is my mother's name, but was later told about them to my aunt. Amber brought her husband, children, her parents, siblings, and their families. Moreover, her husband's family also came. My brother was pissed and wanted to throw them out, but sister-in-law convinced him otherwise. I have to say, I did not know how to react at this point. I think I glanced their way a couple times. After the funeral was over, Mom came towards us with her husband and tried to give her condolences, but my brother told her to leave, that she was not welcome and do not come close to us ever again. I didn't speak with her or any members of our party. When she came over, I sort of partially hid behind my nephew. At one point, I think she tried to say something to me, but my brother shut her down. He was pretty rude, but I think it was, in a way, understandable. So, I tried to ask my brother a question about my mom, but he refused to talk. So, I convinced my aunt. Seeing my mother and her new children made me want to know why they left me. I was half expecting the aunt would also be hating Mom. But she seemed convinced that Mom cared for my father when they first met, but that after they married, realized the impact their age difference had on their married life. I learned that while Mom was pregnant with me, she met X, Mom's current husband, who's now 52, who was working close to my father. Mom's new husband was married at the time and had 3 children, but his wife was very sick. And, well, she died at one point during my mother's pregnancy. After I was born, my mother suffered postpartum depression and left with X when I was 2 months old. My brother hated my mother and believed she was no more than a vile gold digger. But my aunt assured me that my mom never demanded or got any money after Dad and the divorce. The last aunt heard, my mom married her new husband soon after. She gave up all her parental rights after the divorce and also refused visitation. I asked Aunt if Mom ever tried to initiate contact while I was growing up. She did not. But her younger sister tried to see me twice when I was 6 years old and 10 years old, but my father just refused it. I have to say, this hurt me a lot. It was one thing knowing that she left, but another to know that she left to be with another man and his children. I searched her on Facebook and saw that she had 3 children with Mom's husband, and also considers his 3 children hers. In some posts, they referred to her as Mom. I was pretty hurt, so I left it at that. In a way, I kind of forgot about it until March, when a girl with a familiar name followed me on Instagram. I recognized her name instantly as Mom's husband's daughter with his wife. I was confused. Why would she follow me? I did not follow her back. During the next couple of months, I got followed on Instagram by other family members from Mom's side. Her children, nephews, nieces, even her mother followed me. I never followed any of them back, nor did we ever strike a conversation. Some of them liked some of my pictures, but never messaged me. I did not tell anyone about this, nor did I have any intention of initiating a conversation with them. A week ago, well, I was followed by my mom. Yeah, she followed me on Instagram. It was quite shocking seeing the notification pop up, and I did not know what to think. In a way, it felt intrusive. I should have put my profile to private. That very same day, she sent me a message. It was a very long message, and after reading it, I was very conflicted. In the message, she introduced herself, expressed how hard it is for her to write this message. She, in a way, expresses regret for leaving me. Doesn't say why, and expresses her wish of meeting me in person to talk and get to know me. Well, I did not respond. It's been a week since I read it, but simply can't bring myself to respond. In a way, I just don't know what to say. On one hand, I've always wanted to know my mother, but that was before learning why she left, or rather how she left. But then again, I felt like meeting her would be a betrayal to my father. I truly believed he started hating her after she left us. I also feel like meeting her would be a betrayal to my brother, who has become my biggest support system in the last year, truly taken care of me. He detests her, and I know he would not be okay with me meeting her. I also ask myself, why now? The only thing that changed is that my father is no longer around. Would Mom contact me if my father was still alive? Would she contact me at all? I have no idea what to do or how to respond or whether to respond at all. Please, guys, give me a little bit of advice in the comment section below. Okay, so here's kind of a similar situation comment slash a little bit of insight. Here it is. I think the fact that she brought a ton of people to the funeral is, well, odd. I can't believe they all agreed to go. And that part's sticking with me. What a weird, rude, emotional, and obtrusive time to show up with a gang. Just why? I could see bringing one person as support, but extended family, shame on all of them. If she had not done that, I'd agree that maybe you should listen to her perspective. Having been a 24-year-old woman myself, I know it's a weird time where you think you're an adult, but you have a bunch of growing to do still. But bringing the group sounds like she hasn't matured at all. How manipulative. You'll talk to me now because you can't throw us all out without making a scene, which I'm sure you won't do. If it were me, I'd probably respond that I need Amber and her posse to leave me alone and stop following me. Block them. Set your profiles to private. You've become something weird to that family, and I wouldn't want any part of it. So guys, do you think that's good advice? Just completely cold turkey block the whole crew because they overpassed some boundaries when they brought so many people to the funeral. Drop your thoughts down below. The next final story of the video. I'm 36 male. My wife's pregnant with another man's baby after a breakup and wants to keep it. I don't think we should. Before our relationship, we had a lot of previous relationships each, and in the last year, we started to have a load of issues. Decided to go on a break in January just to make the time maybe appreciate each other for a bit and see what life's like on our own, and maybe see other people if we decided that. On our break, we both were okay with us experimenting and being with other people, and I've had a fling. I knew she did too. So a few weeks back, with the current coronavirus pandemic, and before we had lockdown here, we decided to move back in together and carry on with the relationship. Now, as soon as we moved back together, we talked about our experience with other people. I'd been with some casually, definitely with protection, and she had a one-night stand with a guy. However, in her situation, she was super drunk and was sick, so she thinks she threw it back up. And it's one of those, if you don't take it that night, or the right time, or every day, you could get pregnant. So, she has an STI test, which she's clear, and a pregnancy test, which is positive. We're child-free, or at least I thought we were, and always had an agreement that if we ever had an accident, we'd have a termination. The baby's definitely not mine. It's absolutely not possible. So she had a termination scheduled for last Thursday. She came to me on the day of and said she just could not go through with it. She wants to keep the baby. Okay, so now I freak out. I've told her we've always been child-free and definitely I don't want kids. I don't want to raise another man's child. She apologized to me for being so stupid, but is saying she's 100% certain. I've been trying so hard to convince her she should not keep it, but she's just not having it. So, she said we can raise the kid as our own, but I'm not buying it. It would be hard enough if she had a kid of mine, but at least I could accept that it'd be my child if that were to happen. This kid will be another man's. Absolutely nothing to do with me. What the sweet duck do I do? I know the sensible answer is walk away, cut your losses, but it's not that easy. I love her. We've been in each other's lives for so long. Plus, we're in the middle of a quarantine and she's got nowhere to go. I'd feel horrible kicking a pregnant woman out to fend for herself at a time like this. I don't want a kid. Ever. Not even one of my own. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. So things are starting to heat up in this story. There's an update for it. We're going to jump in that now. Don't forget to press that subscribe button if you want to see more stories like this and so you never miss an update. Alright, here is your update. Okay, so here it is. We're looking to get a divorce. I've spoken to a solicitor, have got my options, have started the process, so it's actually going to happen. I'm getting divorced. I posted on here on the child-free section and got lots of amazing advice, but the overwhelmingness was that I should not be forced to raise a child that isn't mine, or try to get someone to have an abortion. To be honest, I knew that deep down. I just didn't want to admit it, and I was scared about facing the fact that our relationship was already damaged, and this was the final straw that broke the camel's back. The one moment where I snapped and made me start to process was Monday. We had more or less confirmed we were going for a divorce, but had not started anything up to that point. She tried to initiate sex. That was it for me. That was my cue. I was done. Like, we're talking about a divorce, ending our marriage, and you want to jump on me like a bunny? Massive argument led me to actually asking for the divorce right then and there. Well, I found the guy who knocked her up on social media. She messaged him, and they're now talking about what to do and making plans or something. I don't know what they're talking about, and I don't give a duck, honestly. Probably scans, money, name, blah, blah, blah. As long as they keep me out of it, do I say good luck? He looks so young, though, and his username where I found him has 97 in it, so I think he's like 22. Oh, don't get me started on that one, considering, well, she's 32. So, God knows where the future holds. For now, she's staying here in a separate room until we work out where she's going to go, but it's likely to move in with her half-sister as the lockdown situation lightens up. The house, well, it's mine. I inherited it, and she agrees as such. Whether she'll be that way after getting a solicitor remains to be seen, but I have the paperwork, and as it was before we were married, so I understand she doesn't have much of a chance. And I'm not letting her have the dog. She'll have a nice shiny new kid to walk away with and won't have time to look after a senior dog and a brand new child. I'll fight for those two things, tooth and nail. Okay guys, so that's a really tough decision to make. Let me know in the comment section, would you stay with the girl or would you leave, cut ties, and just say I'm done with this relationship? Here's a comment. Oh no, I jerked back when I read the part that there's a clear difference in 32-year-old life and a 22-years-old life, no matter what gender. If this were just casual, yeah, sure, fine, but now she's keeping a baby from a one-night stand and getting a divorce. She's a grown woman, and he's just starting his adult life, and he'll probably just be along for rides. So guys, do you think that it's absolutely ridiculous that she's deciding to do this? Let me know in the comment section. I would like to hear from all sorts of opinions. Guys, that's all the stories for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!